Hello everybody. Today I want to talk about pride and how pride helps me to challenge and motivate myself. But I want to get started right away by telling you about one of the greatest challenges that I've accepted in my life. It's actually the first design assignment that I ever took, and at the moment I could put everything that I had to give in it. The project was on the meeting point of design and architecture, which was why I accepted it together with two fellows, one an architect and one a biologist. Together we could work interdisciplinary and think outside of our own realm. It makes every project that you do much more innovative and a lot richer if you do that. The challenge itself was to design and build a giant tower. It could only consist of modular building elements. The challenge was to get it as high as possible while remaining light enough to be built with the equipment we had in hand at that time. There was a very limited time frame, so it took a lot of quick on-our-feet thinking and a lot of quick acting to get this project finished. With this team, we were able to approach the project from different angles, and I think that at that point we really were the perfect match for this project. We managed to collaborate on a level that we had never done before, and we were able to use all our strengths in this project. Of course, there were difficulties and arguments, but in the end we managed to make the deadline and we rose to the challenge and each learned a lot from the process. As I said, this was one of the first projects that I've ever done, and it still fills me with the most pride to think back about it. It's the starting point of my portfolio, and I think it impressed a lot of my future clients. I think you might be curious about the results, so I will show you them right now. This is the result of this huge project. You can see here the design team that I worked with, and the giant tower is in front of it. In the back there, that's me. On the left side is my youngest brother. He is also in the audience, and his name is Emil. He recently graduated as an architect. On the right is my other brother, also here, and he recently graduated as a biologist. You can see that we're all incredibly proud of our achievements. I think it's awesome to see a picture like this and think that maybe this eventually led me to become a designer and gave my brother the inspiration that he needed to become an architect. And I also wonder if we will ever be able to collaborate on a project again with the three of us, and if we will then be as proud as we were on the day that our mom took this picture. But back to pride. Why do I want to talk about pride today? Over the past few years, I've started to realize that the motivation that I needed to do the projects that I work on all came from a desire to be proud of myself. Not necessarily to impress others, and at the moment it's definitely not making me rich yet. But at least when I lie in bed at night, I can be proud of the fact that I worked on something that I truly believe in during the day. And the realization that this was something that I should keep in my mind came about 2 years ago when I read a book called The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand. Has anyone in the audience maybe read it too? I think at least my dad read it, but that's only because I told him he had to do it, and otherwise I wouldn't talk to him anymore. But he, and maybe you, will also understand that at the time of reading it, I was completely blown away by it, and it totally consumed me. And in hindsight, when I look back at reading it, I feel that it truly changed my life. In short, the book is about two architects. The first one is a bit of a coward, and he really only wants to be loved. He doesn't really have a vision or a style or a reason why he wants to build buildings. It's just because he wants people to like him. This makes it also very easy for him to adapt the designs of his drawings so that other people will appreciate it. And if other people have ideas, he takes this along and puts them in his drawings without a problem. He's a great speaker, he has charms, and people like him, which is why they give him a lot of commissions. He's a very successful architect at the time. But in the end, because he lacks this vision and he doesn't really have a reason why he should build these buildings, it doesn't really fill him with pride. And he's mainly jealous at the other architect that I'm going to talk about, who is Howard Rourke. It's the hero of the book, and he's the exact opposite of the first guy. This man has a vision. The only reason for him to build the buildings that he builds is because he thinks that those are the only type of buildings that should be built. All the rest is shit. He hates the architecture scene of that time, he hates all the architects of that time, and the architects of that time also hate him. They think he's an egoist and he's an asshole because he doesn't want to work with them. But this guy, of course, he is proud of his work because he follows his own vision. Even if his buildings never get built, even if he has no money at all, even if he works on projects tirelessly without a building ever being erected, he's proud of the fact that he works following his own vision. And I was so inspired by this character that after reading this book and now in my everyday life, I follow this vision and I want to be more like him. I want to be like Rourke. And ever since then, in my work life, in my personal life, in big decisions, small decisions, I always think back about this book and I think which decision can I take now, which challenge should I accept that will make me in the end the most proud. And this helps me because it helps me pick the challenges that I want, set the goals that I want as far as I can set them, because I know if I can make one step into that direction, I can already be proud. Going from this back to the fashion world, which is the world that I live in, is a little bit difficult. Because even though fashion is very personal, we can tell a story with the garments that we wear, and we carry around these garments with us every day, it can give us a lot of confidence. But the industry itself is not a very proud industry. It's really fast. Nobody has time to think about what he's actually doing. It's not transparent at all because people don't want us to know how it works, and it's very pollutive. And this makes it that, at least for me, and I think also for other people in fashion, you wouldn't really say very proudly to someone like, hey, yeah, I work in fashion, because the likely response is that they will tell you that you are destroying the planet. And I mean, they're probably right. But this really frustrates me because, as I said, I think that garments can be very beautiful, they can give us confidence, and it can be very special. So I think that fashion or style or clothing, or however you want to call it, has the power to make us feel proud. Whether we make it, whether we buy it, whether we wear it, or whether we design it, it has the power to make us feel proud. And we shouldn't let that get spoiled by a sense of guilt over how these garments have been made. So I wanted to come back to this industry and find ways, new innovative ways, to create beautiful garments in fair and sustainable ways, and create clothing that not only I would be proud to make, but that you all would be proud to wear as well. And that's easy enough to say, but how do you change an industry like this that has worked in pretty much the same way for a few hundred years? The spark of inspiration that I found to start off with the work that I do, I found it in the maker movement, also known as the Third Industrial Revolution. I think most of you will know what it is, but I'll explain it for the rest. What it means is that we move from big, large-scale factories that are specialized in producing one certain item to smaller-scale productions where we use state-of-the-art machines to take digital designs and create these products on laser cutters and 3D printers, for example. A lot of the movement is also about the open source sharing of these designs that we can produce or the machines that we use to build them. These machines are becoming available in makerspaces all over the world, and the last 5 years they've been popping up everywhere. For example, there are 5 in my hometown of Rotterdam, and yesterday I discovered that there's one also next door here for all the students at the TEDxUHasselt. We can go to these places, take the designs that we either make ourselves or that we download from designers, and produce any type of product on these machines. And in this, I saw the opportunity to solve a lot of the fashion industry's problems all at once. For example, unfair labor, overproduction, and waste can be tackled by producing on small scale in local places. But I also discovered that by making digital designs, you can add a lot of quantities to garments that they cannot add in the mass production. For example, we can create a better fit by making garments specifically for each person. We can make more personal garments where people can select the fabrics that, for example, they want to use for their dress. And last, we can make them customizable. So by giving you a digital design, you can say, no, I want this dress to be a little bit longer, then okay, fine, make it a little bit longer and then produce it. When I realized this, I started working on the project that has ever since then became my main focus. And it's a project that I called the Post-Couture Collective. As the Post-Couture Collective, I work together with designers and researchers to create these digital garment designs that you can all take to our makerspace to produce. I have a small video that illustrates this process, and I will talk over it a little bit. Here you see Milou, and she is browsing through our website like you would on any other site that sells you clothing. She can select a garment, but here it already starts to be different because she can take her own measurements and input them into the website. Our software will then create a digital shape, the digital shape of the garment in exactly her size. Here she downloaded the design, she adapted a little bit before she takes it to the makerspace. Here's the makerspace. She also has a fabric that she bought either from us or in another store, that doesn't really matter. And she can take her design and put it into the laser cutter. Now that's the design, and the laser cutter is great because it can cut really difficult, intricate shapes that you would never be able to cut by hand. And in a minute you will see why this is very necessary, because I didn't want to use any sewing in my garments. There you can see the shapes that it makes. That's really small. And this is the front piece of the garment that she made. And here you see the assembly. So instead of using a sewing machine, it has this innovative weaving structure that allows her to assemble the garment in about half an hour, and here it's already finished. So if it is really this simple, who wouldn't want a garment that is both designed and made specifically for them? I don't think anyone would. We can even do the entire process that we just saw in my vision. We can do this in a future shop that I like to call a maker's shop, a place where you would go in, you can see on screens the designs that are available, you can select from the materials that they have in this shop, and after taking your measurements, it would get manufactured and you can walk out with your custom-made garment in a matter of minutes. I think with ideas like this, together we can create an industry in which eventually everyone is proud. So both the designers, the sellers, the producers, and the wearers of these garments. And if you've paid attention, you will know that all four of these people can eventually be the same person. The most important aspect of this project for me is the collaboration and the community. The fact that I can activate people all over the world that share this vision and give them the tools to start making and designing their own clothes in this way. I'm really proud to see that it's already happening. I see it because I get emails from all over the world by people asking which materials work best, whether they can change the design so that use another connection technique. And one of the best examples is that people can actually go into the community on a group, for example, and share their own designs back into the community and their own connection techniques. One of the first examples of this was Milena, a French fashion design student. She downloaded a couple of designs and then changed it to her own materials and to her own shapes, and presented that to her teachers as her own work. That's of course nice, but she took it a step further, and in her next edition of samples, she developed her own connection technique, which is great because now all of the people who are in our community can also use this technique to assemble their garments. Milena is now currently talking to suppliers and software engineers to see if this kind of connection techniques can already be implemented into the fashion design of nowadays and into the industry that already works. And this is really cool because I didn't tell her to do this, but she chose to do it because she's proud of the design that she made, she's proud of the time that she spent on it, and is really willing to share it again with other people that will take it and a step further again. So for me, this is a challenge accepted that in the next coming years, I want to continue to work on projects like this, projects that make me proud and projects that I really believe in. I'm starting out in fashion, but I can already see that the implications of my vision and visions like this have a chance to go way beyond into other industries as well. I hope that I can expand my networks and find really interesting people to collaborate with and share the vision that I have. My vision for a fair future, where people work on the projects that they believe in and nobody has to become the victim of the greed of someone else. My vision also for a shared future, where these products and services are shared instead of owned. And we can create products driven by the pride that people feel in creating them. I want to work towards a circular future, where humans, nature, material and crafts are all equally respected. And in the end, we will be able to develop a circularity that spans all of the industries so that we all use the same materials over and over again. I also want to work towards a connected future where we feel a personal connection to all of the products and garments that we use, and where products are personal and users are involved and the end users are involved in the creation of them. I want to work towards a utopian future even, where we are not afraid to dream big. I certainly am not. And we can work without fear on these dreams that we all have. And in this future, I think you all play a very important role, because in the end, the future is going to be made by everyone. And I think in this future, you will accept those challenges that you will find the most difficult, that look to be the most difficult for you, because those are the ones that make you the most proud. And that is what I wanted to say.